The ocean, covering over 72% of the world in which we abide, possessing the deepest canyons and largest mountain ranges. Over 1 million known species and another 9 million which are yet to be discovered, the ocean is a substantial part of our lives. Some of its many jobs include regulating our climate and providing food and recreational activities such as surfing, swimming, parasailing, and many others. Most importantly, it is a main contributor to over half of the oxygen that we breathe through plants called phytoplankton, which produce this oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Sadly, even though the ocean covers 72% of our land, less than 2% of it is protected. From the beginning of time until today, we have already lost over 90% of all of the big fish that possessed its waters. 20% of all coral reefs are gone, and its contribution to our substantial life source of oxygen is depleting more and more each day. Why? Pollution. There is a large misconception that circulates around about our ocean. People believe that it is so vast and so deep that no matter how much trash and chemicals get dumped into it, the effects will not be seen. There is even a saying that goes, "The solution to pollution is dilution." This is just not the case. With over 6 main sources of pollution that inhabit the waters, the effects are far from unseen. A few smaller sources include dumping, air, sewage, and even noise pollution. Dumping is consistent of human litter and trash that is dumped from ships into the ocean. When people dump their trash into the ocean, the debris does not decompose immediately. It often remains there for years, utilizing oxygen as it degrades. Due to this decrease in oxygen level, many marine animals suffer, and their chances of survival go down as well. Littering on the beach also calls for a lack of tourism, which can potentially be harmful to people and the economy of that area. Air pollution takes place through the chemicals that come from cars and factories that turn into acid rain, which mixes and eventually contaminates its waters. Sewage pollution is inclusive of animal and human wastewaters that leak into the ocean, and noise pollution comes from sound waves from ships, sonar devices, oil rigs, and even earthquakes. Noise pollution disrupts the migration, communication, hunting, and reproductive patterns of many types of marine wildlife, leading to many other complications. The largest source of pollution by far is agricultural runoff. Pesticides and fertilizers that are sprayed on the ground and in the plants get carried away with the rain down to streams and rivers that eventually lead out into the ocean, where small organisms may consume them and introduce them into the global food chain. Many animals suffer from reproductive failure due to these toxins and can lead to the extinction of their species. Those that do survive to reproduce, however, possess a large danger to humans. Those that consume seafood are liable to fish or shellfish that have previously ingested these toxins and can cause long-term health issues for us as well. Just recently in Florida, a bacteria called Vibrio vulnificus that was present in raw shellfish claimed the lives of over 20 people that received the food from the Gulf of Mexico in both 2014 and 2015, which brings me to my last source of pollution: oil. The petroleum products we use every day for fuel are deadly to our ocean. Due to the drilling of oil located in the rigs under the ocean's surface, there are often times when the oil leaks out and can get onto the gills and feathers of marine animals, which can cause health issues such as cancer, failure to reproduce, and even death. Oil spills can also affect the process of photosynthesis in coral reefs and destroy the life in them. Fishing and crabbing industries, among many others, are also affected when this takes place, and even directly affects the economy of the U.S. One of the most substantial incidents to ever occur in regards to oil pollution was the Deepwater Horizon oil rig's explosion on April 20, 2010 in the Gulf of Mexico. The rig sunk to the bottom of the ocean floor, causing the British petroleum oil pipe to eventually leak 4 million barrels of oil into the Gulf before it was finally capped 87 days later. Covering over 1,000 miles of shoreline from Texas to Florida, the Gulf's average dolphin death per year rose from 63 to 125 in those few short months to follow, and it is still averaging more than 200 a year since April of 2010. Hundreds of thousands of seabirds are gone, and many forms of wildlife have claimed to be deformed, such as having missing limbs or disconfiguration in the face. However, the people of the Gulf were not silent about this tragedy by any means. They started the Gulf of Mexico Research Initiative, which is a 10-year independent research program that has raised over $175 million to donate to research institutions to investigate the proper handling of petroleum in the ocean and how to prevent future disasters like this from ever occurring. So while we may not be capable of starting and funding our own research institutions, we can begin by keeping plastics, trash, and toxic waste out of our ocean. Every year, over 15 billion pounds of plastic are produced in the US, yet only 1 billion are recycled. I'm sure you've heard of the term reduce, reuse, recycle. A little bit can actually go a long way. In addition, take care of our beaches by always cleaning up after yourself when you leave. And last but not least, we can support organizations that are working to protect the ocean. If everyone works together, we can begin to protect more than just the 2% of these life sources, and take great strides into providing for a healthy ocean and greater society.